Welcome, guys. This is another episode for the Big Mike and Little Ant channel. This time, though, we're doing a review for the movie The Harder They Fall. Right now, I got a panel of some familiar faces. Just want to introduce them. First of all, we got Chloe Diz in the building. What's going on, Chloe?
Hey guys, what's up?
And of course, we got the extraordinary jack of all trades, Mr. Josh Waring.
What up, Big Mike? Thank you for having us on the Big Mike Little Ant channel. And of course, a special salute to all of our past, present, and future veterans out there. Thank you. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you you for letting me get the day off today too with that. So appreciate that. But no, I do appreciate all them. So Harder They Fall, man, highly anticipated Western that I saw the trailer for a long time ago. Obviously, the cast jumps right off the page from the beginning. That was in the movie. A Black Western. I don't know how many of those you guys have seen in the past, but I'm always up for those. I don't know if you, Josh, you could see like the Quentin Tarantino inspiration a little bit in the movie. I thought that was good too. But overall, what was your anticipation for the movie? Let's start with that, Chloe. What do you think about anticipation for the movie?
So y'all know I don't watch trailers, right? So let's talk about it.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But like, so
Josh, what made you watch the movie? How about that? Let's go
let
with
me
that.
say this. Josh sent me a DM like a week ago with Jay-Z had a new like his first Instagram post or whatever, and I didn't understand what it was. I was just like, "Oh, cool, Jay-Z has an Instagram," but like I didn't understand that it was like a movie that he did it for, which is awesome. Marketing, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, so then Josh turned on the trailer. I think we were talking about Idris Alba because we had just watched something. I can't remember what we watched, but
the movie with was it Madden from Stark, the older Stark?
Richard Madden.
There we go. Who's just in the internals. Thank you.
Yeah, and I fell asleep watching that. But
wow,
I was tired. It was a good movie. We got actually finished watching that. But yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, Idris Alba, blah blah blah, and then he brings up the trailer. So this is my first time watching the trailer, and I'm like, oh snap, Jonathan Majors. And I'm like, oh my God, Idris Elba. And then I'm like, all these people, Zaza, and then what's my girl? My girl from
Regina King.
Regina King. I love her. And I was like, Josh, we have to watch this. And he's like, yeah, we about to watch it right now. I'm like, word, it's out already. Like, that's from now on, like, hide the trailers from me until I can watch it because I hate waiting. So I got really souped up about it. And then he was like, ha, surprise. It's on right now. We're about to watch it. And I was like, yes. So yeah. So once I saw the lineup and I saw that it was a Black Western, I was just like, you know, I'm not really into Westerns, but I love the lineup of cast. So I was like, yo, I'm trying to see everybody. And then they had the dude, what's his name? The dude from
Lakeith.
Yeah, Lakeith.
Lakeith Stanfield. Yeah.
Awesome actor. Like the lineup was lit. And then I was like, okay, that makes sense. Jay-Z promoting it. And then like I connected the dots. So
he did the soundtrack, he's part of the production.
It was good. It was, you know, my expectations were. I was kind of nervous though, because you know when that lineup is that good, it's like sometimes it be trash. I feel like sometimes it's so many great characters, like great actors that they don't invest that much into the script. So I kind of was like, I hope they don't disappoint me. So
okay. So obviously you had a different anticipation than she did because you kind of knew about the job. So what was your I guess thoughts when you heard about it and going into it?
Of course, the cast was outstanding, so I was definitely curious about that. And of course, if you know my favorite rapper of all time, Sean Carter, who actually executive produced this, not Jay-Z. I thought that was very interesting. The stage name he used was Sean Carter, which is very clever. It makes sense.
It makes sense. Okay, so the cast sold you right away without the trailer.
With the trailer as well, because I was curious how are they going to assemble this ensemble, if you will.
Okay, got you. Yeah, so I don't know. Black Westerns they're few and far between anyway, especially like a whole Black Western. That's very few. I know we got Django, of course, which had some Western vibes in it. And then I remember Posse. I don't know if you remember that at all, but that was a movie in the 90s directed by Mara Van Peebles, which also had, at that time, a lot of black actors in it. So if you ever get a chance, go check out Posse. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. But with this one, James Samuel, who is hasn't done a lot, but he's done a couple Westerns, actually. I don't know if you guys know, it's actually Seal's brother, the singer Seal.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at him, you can kind of see it a little bit. But yeah, because Seal was at the red carpet for the whole thing too when it first came out. But you know, I read a lot about him, and you know, the thing about this is these are real life characters, even though the story may be fictional. But it's still, what I like about it is it gives Black people a chance to go back and at least look up who these people were and what they did. So you can put any story out there, but the names are real. The people are real. Did you know that, or how did that make you feel, Josh?
Oh yeah, I thought that was amazing, and it actually adds a different avenue for Hollywood as a whole now, because now you can tell a story using a specific. I even say it might be inappropriate to say characters because these were actually people. It's just the character that's being portrayed is a version of that person, which to me is always great. And I thought personally, you know, I wish Idris and Jonathan had more scenes together because I thought they had great chemistry. So one of the things I did before we came on live is that I saw the beginning of the film and the ending and just skipped in between. And I thought those scenes were very powerful, and it made sense why it ended that way. It had to. It was a classic Western, but I do appreciate how you get to have a realistic, somewhat view into the past and get some empowerment from that. Because again, ex-slaves.
Right. All of them at some point or another. All right. So Chloe, tell us, so you said before you were a little worried because it was a wonderful cast, but you worried that the script or the story would have been good. So when you saw the story, tell us what you thought about the story as you were watching it.
Okay, I'm gonna prelude this with I don't like Westerns.
Right, we got it.
At all. I mean, the closest thing to a Western that I liked was Django. I love Django. That was my movie. And the second closest thing to a Western I liked was the Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Oh my God.
With Josh was like, that's not a Western. I'm like, bro.
And it's a horrible movie. It's both.
Listen,
and Will Smith actually took that role instead of Neo. So
yeah.
Well, listen, I haven't seen it in a whole bunch of years, but that's as far as my attention span goes with Western movies. I'm just not into it. Oh, in Red Dead Redemption, I like that game.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm just Westerns are just kind of boring to me. There's a lot of monologue, dialogue. There's a lot of slow moments. I'm an action-packed kind of person. I feel like with the Westerns, they kind of starts off a little bit of action, then it's slow, very, very slow. Oh my God. Then it's one funny part, but not really. And then it goes slow. And then the ending is the build up with crescendo to the part where it's okay, I waited 2 hours to see this part. But I'm going to say my favorite thing about it was the cinematography.
Okay.
I thought visually it was very stimulating, especially for a Western, which is usually black and white from my schema. And I thought that everything was well presented. You could tell it was very thought out. And it kind of was comic book-esque. It reminded me of watching a Marvel comic book type of thing, but Western. So I really appreciate the director and the how the production was with the visual aspects of it. That kept me interested when the dialogue got really dry to me.
Okay. I mean, there were a lot of colors in the buildings and stuff like that.
So many colors. And the colors, represented stuff. When they went to the all-white town, the whole town was white. Not just people. The whole town was white. And they were very intentional when they did stuff like that. So I appreciate that aspect. Very Quentin Tarantino-ish for me. Which was interesting because he's a black director, right?
Well, he's not black.
He's not black?
Quentin Tarantino?
No, I know Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, this guy
James Samuel.
Yeah, he's black. Yes, he is black.
I was kind of like that. It kind of reminded me too much of Quentin. Like I wanted him to have his own creative kind of spin on it. It was just like too Quentin Tarantino-ish for me.
Do you agree with her on that, Josh?
I definitely see the Tarantino, connection.
Inspiration.
And definitely inspiration because, Django, right? And shout out to that cast as well. But I would say for me, because I watch Westerns with my dad and, Big Mike, you've been to our basement. So
yes.
What I appreciated was the classic genre of an old Western film. And then you blended it together with a traditional Western film score in addition to a modern film score, because you had, like modern songs, that type of rhythm in these type of films, but you still had those long panels on the side of the horse with that classic, tune in the background. So with the scenes having such intensity, because I know and I understand for someone like Chloe, like she's used to a lot of stimulation. Right. So it makes sense that these long scenes with huge monologues and very intense dialogue, it may not like capture everyone's attention, which is fair.
Yeah, I can see that, and the score definitely made it the pace better. The parts where they add the music into some of those slower scenes, especially because you had like a newer, you didn't have that that old stuff. You had like a newer type score. I thought that was good. And speaking of like the all black director, there's an Easter egg that I found that I found out. I don't know if you guys know or not, but the first scene where they break out Idris Elba from the train. So when they walk past the train, when they walk to past the front of the train, the train is named C.H. Boseman. So that's Chadwick Boseman. They put that Easter egg in the film, actually, which was pretty cool. I thought just a little something. But speaking of that first scene, and that was the first scene, but there's a second scene. That might be my favorite scene in the whole movie, actually, even though a lot of stuff happened later on. But I thought the acting in that scene, I thought that just the whole sequence of Trudy, played by Regina King, stopping the train, them going on there, Lakeith Stanfield, who I'll get into later, and his dialogue with the policeman. Like, how'd you guys like the whole train scene?
I think the trailer ruined it for me.
Really?
That was in the trailer. I knew they was
not the whole thing.
Well, like I wanted to like stuff like that. I like to be surprised about, and I felt like I knew that was gonna happen. Like when I seen her sit, like put the thing in front of the train, I knew it was gonna happen. Put the horse in front of the train. So that's why trailers ruin stuff for me. So for me, if I didn't see the trailer, that would have been like, oh snap, they about to do something crazy. But I already knew it was coming, so it was just like, oh okay, they're gonna rob the train or whatever, or they're gonna break him out.
Right.
But like I say,
trailer. So for you, knowing the outcome of the scene, even though other stuff happened within the scene, it doesn't matter because you know the outcome of the scene.
Yeah, because it's like I was telling Josh, I was like, yo, there was no character development. Like I wanted the characters to be more developed. Like I wanted to know where they were from.
I agree.
What they were doing, and they just killed them all off. And I'm just like, all right, I had no investment in any of these characters except for.
I will say I will say I get your point, but in most westerns, which you don't really watch or like, this is the outcome. Half the people die, or if not most of them, and there's really not any character development.
Exactly, that's what Josh explained to me.
Yeah, you get pretty much what you got, a small part to understand, some of who they are and some of their motivations, but no real development because they all die, like at the end of the day.
Exactly, and that's why I was just like, that's probably why I don't like westerns. I have a lot of questions, like where is this lady from?
You know what else is good? Magnificent Seven with Denzel. That's also really good. And I think Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Pratt's in that?
You should watch that one, Chloe. That's a good cast too. Yeah. Magnificent Seven. But Josh, so I mean, what'd you feel about that first scene on the train?
The train scene I thought was fantastic cinematically. The intensity. That's what westerns do so great, is that they let the tension build in the scene until, as Chloe said, it's a crescendo, right? It's like it's an emotional release as soon as because something's always going to pop off. And to both of your points, of course, there's not that much character development. Why? Because this was a true representation of those times. They call it the Wild Wild West for a reason.
Right.
That's just the lifestyle, unfortunately. So it's better for you to not get attached to that character.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones esque. Like you never know when somebody gonna die.
But like Game of Thrones, you had a little bit to go off of. Like.
But the train scene was the most unrealistic to me.
Go ahead. Why?
Only because of how it started. You really think he's stopping the train? Come on.
Okay.
That horse would have been smushed.
Not just the horse, Chloe.
She might have hopped off.
In fact, he might have felt remorse for the horse, let's say.
If he would have hit the horse, then they could have hopped on the train. See, that would have been more realistic. Like if she left the horse there, they hit the horse, and then they hopped on the train, and then that would have been more action for me.
I hear you. My thing, for me, like, and I have gripes about this movie, which I'll get into. But for me, Lakeith just stole that whole scene. Like, I love him in the scene, walking through the train, the part where he cut the guy with the knife and stuff like that. Just his presence, like it's crazy to see like these Jonathan Majors, Lakeith Stanfield. Most of these guys only started within like 4 or 5 years ago, and they're becoming household names. He's such a good actor, and like I got a hold of Lakeith from the show Atlanta, and I would have never thought he would have been like what he is today, like in that show.
He was in that other movie where the people turned into horses. Did you ever see that?
No.
It's called White People. It's something with white people voice. But I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah. I might have seen it though. But I got a hold of him in Atlanta along with the other guy from Eternals, actually.
Yeah, but he was in what is it called? Sorry to Bother You.
Oh, that's good too. He's good.
That's the one you seen that when they turned into horse people.
I seen it. Yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it.
Spoiler alert. The movie old enough, so
yeah, it's
really have to alert. Like,
all right, well, let's move forward past that scene. So, let's talk about another character, good actor who's been coming up over the years, Jonathan Majors. So, I know you guys are big fans of his from Lovecraft Country. Obviously, we see him in Loki and stuff like that. So, what do you think of him in this movie, Chloe? Jonathan Majors.
All right. Obviously, he was an awesome actor, but like I associate him so much with Lovecraft, and we just got finished watching Lovecraft, so I was like, when he was in the love scene with Zaza, I was like, he's cheating on his wife.
Oh my god!
She literally said that out loud.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, his baby mother, whatever, because they didn't get married, but like,
I got again, spoiler alert for those.
Yeah, for me. It's all good though.
Like we literally took a year and a half trying to get him to watch the show. You want to spoil it?
Whatever. Like it's your fault. It's not my. I release all responsibility because we told you time and time again to watch it.
Go ahead, Chloe. So you saw him only as the character.
So anyway, I was like, dag, like he did so good in that other show, Lovecraft, that it was like I had to wrap my brain around him being this new character. Which is weird because in Loki, spoiler alert, I was able to see him in that light, but for this movie, it was a little difficult for me. But he's an awesome actor, so I mean, he killed the role. Like I don't think I could have seen somebody else play that role. Like I can't envision someone else playing it. But yeah, it just shows his range of like how many things he can do. Was it my favorite version of him? No. My favorite version obviously is in Loki.
Lovecraft. Oh, Loki.
Oh, not Lovecraft, Loki.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. All right. He Who Remains.
He Who Remains. It's about to go down.
Nat Love. What do you think of the character and how Majors did with the character?
I thought he did a phenomenal job. These are, this is one of the characters that you do get character development in abundance. So I think he did a wonderful job showing his range that we've seen in all of his other roles, but specifically this one. So I thought that was very good to see, and I appreciate that. And I do think, I think he'll be able to amp it up a notch eventually when he becomes a different version of Kang who's more ruthless. I don't have any problem seeing him in that, especially after Lovecraft and Harder They Fall. There's not going to be any issue with that for me.
See, for me, I like the Nat Love character. Obviously, it's not my favorite character in the movie, though, but I did like it. But for me, after seeing him in this, I got more. It made me feel better about him being a more ruthless version of Kang because he was ruthless in parts of this movie. So I kind of saw that. He Who Remains was kind of silly, you know what I'm saying? So, but this guy, it was a little different. So I thought he was a good lead. Let's talk about his opposite, which was Idris Alba, and we'll get into the story like that, playing Rufus Buck, and he really was, had a different different motivation, playing a different role than Nat Love. So, Chloe, did you see him as somebody else, or what did you think of Idris Elba as Rufus Buck?
I see him as a bad guy already, so I thought, it wasn't something new. Like, because in Calvin and Hobbes, he's the bad guy.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. What did I say? Calvin and Hobbes? That's the show. That's a book. My elementary education coming out. That's
I'm like,
Hobbs and Shaw. That's a book, I think, about a cat or something.
I love how you always got her back, Josh. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. You be knowing.
Right,
so yeah, so Hobbs and Shaw, he was the bad guy. And so this movie, I wasn't like shocked. Like, I knew he could play a bad guy role. I wanted to see him more in it, if that made sense. I
kind of agree. I think he was underused, actually.
Yeah. They just used him for he should have been in way more scenes. Like, they show Regina King, and I like her as an actress. I wanted to see her differently, but I think they should have used him more.
That's interesting, because I thought they used him enough, especially as we would call it, the antagonist in the tale. Because again, at the end, which we'll get to, it kind of turns it on his head. But for this, he already did the shoot 'em up, bang bang. He lived that lifestyle. So he essentially was boss status. You go do that. Like, I'm gonna send out the lieutenants, but I'm gonna stay here and keep home base. Like, he was already beyond that. Like, there's no longevity in that.
See, I wanted to see him do more bad guy things.
With Mary?
Well, okay, they just kept talking about how bad he was, but I wanted to see it. Like, I wanted to see the action. I wanted to see him do some more ruthless stuff. Like, I wanted them to build his ruthless character.
More than killing a father and a wife and a mother in front of a 10-year-old boy.
That happened in the first 5 minutes. Like,
he did. Wait, did he kill that guy who wasn't down with him taking Redwood? Who didn't agree? Yeah, he died. I remember that, actually.
So he had a Frank Lucas moment. He had every aspect of a gangster, like an OG. He that's who he was.
But you know what, Josh? It seemed like he was gone for big chunks, and then would come back. Because even when Stagecoach Mary, it's all spoiler review, by the way. When Stagecoach comes to the town, which, by the way, this is my biggest problem with the movie, was the dumbest plan ever. She had no plan. She was just like, I'm gonna go here and see what's up by myself, and that was it. It was like, what the hell's going on?
Well, she was trying to barter, strike a deal.
No, she said, I'm going to Case. She went to Case to join, basically, and said, I'll come back. However, she gets that was okay. My problem with the movie was its predictive nature sometimes. I knew she would be kidnapped. Did you not know when she said, I'm going to go down there, they'll keep her? I definitely knew before it even happened. I said, she's not coming back. You know what I'm saying? But when they when she does go, she spends most of her time talking to Trudy instead of Idris. So she became like her adversary, so to speak. You know what I mean? She's the one who kind of kidnapped her. She talked to her first, and then she the one hit her in the head. Now, I guess it's trying to show women on women more than a man fighting a woman. I get that. But at the same time, it's like Idris is like the big bad in the movie. So I kind of unless you see him and Trudy more as like a Batman and Robin type deal. But you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, to your point, he was supposed to be presented as the big bad, but if we would have had more scenes with him, you would have saw that he wasn't the big bad, really.
Because of why he did what he did, you saying?
Correct. That is the movie. That's why I did the first scene, the literally first scene, and literally the climax, and those together paint the picture. And to me, it reminds me of a Killmonger and T'Challa type scene, to be honest.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's interesting. But
I just wanted to see him do more ruthless stuff. Like, I want to see him burn stuff up, shoot things, bang bang.
Hey, Chloe, out of curiosity, what area of this fictional world would you like to see burned down first?
The White Town.
I didn't say that. All I'm saying is, all right, since we want to go there, we're gonna go there.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of Black trauma in this movie. which I'm
black
just
trauma?
tired of. Yes,
Definitely.
the whole
And
movie.
black on black trauma as well.
Well, okay, I get your point, but I think they were trying to show that they're black westerns that they were black westerns, and that they were also sheriffs and bosses and had their own gangs, and it wasn't always us running from the white gang, but we also didn't always team up together, stuff like that. So, but I get it. I guess you guys would say we should have come together and take on the white gang rather
That's
than.
what I thought, honestly, on everything. When I saw the trailers,
You ain't seen a white person in the trailer at all. How'd you think that?
no, listen, because I thought obviously there's Caucasian people. They ain't in Africa.
I
So I'm
understand.
just like, you feel me? Like I was like, okay, they're gonna come together and
You
like
know what?
they're
Then
gonna
you will.
want
You
some
should watch.
Django stuff. You
Then
feel
you
me?
should
Like,
watch Posse. Posse is a black versus white thing, and they come together. You should watch Posse, like I told you. Then, Josh, you watch Posse. I'm telling you.
it was
But
just a lot. It was a lot of trauma. Like it was not one happy part in the whole thing.
I mean, okay. Well, let's talk about the story because Josh, you kind of alluded to it a lot. So we see Rufus Buck in the beginning. We see a young Jonathan Majors, Nat Love. We see that he's at his house about to have dinner with his mom and dad. Dad goes to the door. He's like, "Yo, don't come in." So you know it. They sit down. That which was also a very well acted scene by the dad. I thought. And I like the direction where they never show Rufus' face at the time, but you can still see the fear within the dad. I thought James did a great job, directing that scene. But he just shoots the mom, bang, bang, shoots the dad, scars up the son, stuff like that. Then we see an older Jonathan Major, still got the scar. He takes out the guy at the church and
Scorpion.
Scorpion, another Quentin Tarantino inspired scene, I thought, because of the blood and stuff like that, obviously. And the way the guy kind of froze in midair, that was all Tarantino-esque a little bit. But then from there, I'm just following Majors now. We see him go see Zazie and Stagecoach Mary and her deputy and stuff like that. So we're here, Stagecoach Mary, her deputy. They're at the saloon. What do you think of this? Her, Zazzy's character, Chloe, and her deputy, and the whole saloon part of it.
I didn't really understand. I'm just like, all right, like she's just they didn't have any character development, so I was just like, okay, they had.
She's the owner of a saloon. That's it.
She's the owner of a saloon, but I'm like, did they had to run in the same circles? Like, were they not together? Like, I know he wanted to be with her. He gave her a ring and stuff, but I'm like, was she still in robbing stuff with them, or was she just the owner? Okay.
So she was a part of the gang, him, her, and the other two guys.
Okay.
And then she got out because she wanted to get out, and he didn't get out. And she went and started starting up saloons everywhere, not just that one, a bunch of them, and got this deputy. Basically, she knew that he wouldn't get out until he was able to find Rufus Buck. So that was that motivation was not allowing him to really give her the love she wanted. So that's what I got from all that.
I got this. Okay, that makes sense. That clarifies.
Sounds like a very powerful love story. Would you say rom-com, Don?
I mean, when you put it together, yes. I mean, it makes kind of a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. But in the meanwhile, we do see his gang, the Nat Love gang, which a lot of gangs were named after the people. I don't know. Those people that weren't trying to get away with anything. They just named it after themselves. I don't understand.
You got to embrace it, just like the fatwa.
It makes sense. So the Nat Love gang, and they robbed other two guys who were stealing money for Rufus Buck gang. And then they come together and bring the guy. And that's when Nat Love finds out Rufus is still alive, making him, more upset. But then he strikes a deal with the sheriff or the marshal. So, Josh, what do you think about all the way up until that part?
I thought that was, again, keeping with the Western genre. So for me, I appreciated it. It made sense. And you had another, prominent role to a wonderful Black actor. So I thought that was great, of that age, of that, of that ilk, because, OG, triple OG.
It definitely for a lot of Western genres, Josh. It had the guys who wanted the quick draw. It had, like you said, all the revenge tale. I'm more with Chloe, though, not so much the character development, but I thought the story was lacking for me. The actors and them being great actors is what made it a decent movie, because they could do this with any type of script. But I did think the script was lacking. And I thought, like I said, some of the parts were predictive. And I'll get to my problem with the ending later on. So, what do you think about this, the script itself or the story? The story, really, Josh, overall.
As a whole, I did appreciate the symmetry of the story from the beginning and the end. Like I keep talking about that a lot.
Yeah.
I just love how they are essentially mirror opposites. So I thought that was pretty cool.
What about the
As a
middle?
whole,
You think they're opposite? Who's the opposite?
No, he's saying the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie are opposites of each other.
So I just realized something when Mike was talking about the scorpion. So like, you know what? Sounds weird in my headphones. Okay, that's better. So like, you know how movies, right? There's like a formula.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about the beginning of the movie, the scorpion character, he basically foreshadowed what was going to happen at the end. Because if you notice, when Jonathan Majors went to go kill him, he was reformed. Remember, he was in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of like foreshadowed his father being that reformed person. And that was like, a little teaser for the end of the movie. So I just put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh, that was kind of smart. Because like they didn't have to show the scorpion as like a reformed person.
Oh, that is pretty good, Claude. I didn't notice that either, actually.
So like they basically came in like he's like, oh, don't do any, like, he had the same look on his face as the father had on his face. So if you paid close attention, like if if you're like into this type of stuff, you probably would have noticed like, dang, that's probably the dad is the same type of situation. That's why he got killed. That's why he got murdered.
That's pretty cool. And let's get to the ending because you kind of alluded to it earlier, Josh. My problem is they build this Rufus Buck character up. So I just read it as this ruthless, dirty, like whatever, killer. Even the whole movie, they keep calling him the devil, and the marshal keeps correcting everybody. He's not the devil, he's a man. Mm-hmm. But then at the end of the day, I wanted more of the showdown with him and Nat Love, Major's character, or at least show Rufus Buck like just taking out people. But like you said, he kind of stayed in the cut and didn't do anything. So that kind of bothered me. How'd you guys feel about that?
I thought it was powerful that he didn't. I think like what Josh was saying, like he played his role in that part was important. Because at that point, you could tell it was the plan. Like he had already done the bang bang shoot 'em up stuff. So like I was looking for him to do that earlier in the movie. But at the end, I think he played like where he was positioned was where he was supposed to be. And like if you noticed in the cinematography, mm-hmm. the scenes where they had him looking through the window.
Yeah.
A lot, it's kind of like him, shows his status as a boss. Like he overseeing everything, like nobody can touch him. And then he did blow up the guy.
Yeah, his boy. Yeah, Deion Cole.
So that was a little bit of action. He got a little taste of it. And he did that with no heme. Like he was just
you know what I like about that is that this was his man. It was his boy for how many years. And his man set him up, got him locked up. He came back and took back to town. He beat him up, but he said, I loved you, basically. You was my friend, so I'm going to spare you. You can go. And then he came back and he killed. But I like the fact that, it showed a lot to me. He did try to spare him because they had something at once, but then he came back and he had to kill him. So that I appreciated a lot and stuff. But so the ending you're saying you loved then, Josh?
Oh, absolutely. Because of the message it sends, because it's a piece of art at the end of the day. So essentially it's, it's Buck's character giving birth to Nat. Because if that didn't happen, Nat would have been similar to his father. He would have probably ended up being a marshal or a sheriff, which I thought that was a great parallel when they had him team up with the marshal. Because even though he was in a gang, he never robbed. His gang didn't rob the actual gang. They would rob the robbers, which I think is very clever. So it's kind of like a Robin Hood, if you will. So on that in that gray area of the law, like the Han Solo character, that type of thing, if that makes sense.
I did the twist. Now, did you guys see the twist coming or to catch you off guard?
To me, it put a bow on it for me because to both of your points, which is fair, there's not that much action from from Buck's character. But again, we see why. We get that context because he wanted that moment, because it was never going to happen if it was going to be shoot it up, bang, bang. It was never going to happen that way. It would only happen if he would have had him come to him like a boss, right? To have that conversation. Because again, we see him drinking in the hotel or wherever that place is, and he's, you know, he's not even getting ready. So to me, that lets me know, like, oh, there's supposed to be a conversation.
Go ahead, Chloe. You see this? You see the twist coming?
The movie for me was kind of like an ice cream sandwich, but the outside, like the little cookie parts, that's like the sprinkles and the best cookie you've ever tasted, and in the middle is like yogurt. So it's like the movie, the beginning and the end was slamming to me.
But the middle,
like, but the middle, it was like, it's yogurt, it's froyo. It's not ice cream, but it's froyo.
That's fair. Those are classic westerns. Westerns have a part in the middle where it gets a little stale, but then it comes back around.
I kind of think that's good. I mean, honestly, I get your parallels to Killmonger and T'Challa, because at the end of the day, we could say Rufus was the big bad, but even beyond the twist, but even what he was trying to do, you know, and was build up the black town, it wasn't all bad. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought that, you know, it's hard to, I mean, obviously, but we did it about the wrong way, but that's what everybody did back then. They all robbed banks, stuff like that, because there was no way for you to come up any other way, you know, especially as a black person. So I didn't feel like his motivations as far as like, you know, what he tried to do were all bad. The twist, of course, which I keep alluding to, was the fact that, like I said, we see him kill the mother and father, but turns out that they share the same father. And I get Rufus' part there too, because he said, yo, the dad you had wasn't the dad I had. So I spent my whole life saying I'm going to kill my dad. So even though I spared you because you're my brother, you know, but this guy was horrible to me. He beat me, killed my mother, then left me. So I was going to get him. I found out he had passed her with a new family. I don't care nothing about that. Stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty, I didn't mind it. How about you guys? So.
Yeah, I thought that was, again, the imagery of what's happening today. Like, we have that is like the Hatfield and McCoy duels that'll last for centuries, right? Because if you know, kill this person, they related to me, I'm gonna get my revenge on you. So I thought the end part with John, you know, with Nat Love's character is emptying the clip. He's trying to, you know, force that, trying to get that relief from that emotion, but that emotion is still there. So the revenge didn't actually help. So I thought that was a great message to the younger community, to be like, this ain't the way, type of thing, because it's not going to give you what you're looking for. So, and that, to me, I thought Jonathan Majors acted that scene perfectly, that having that duality of emotions.
Petty gang.
I thought
petty gang.
Yeah, because I also thought it showed, you know, that, you know, I'm Petty Pendergrass, so, but, you know, I also thought it showed that you can do something in life and try to change later on, but it will come back to you. And that's what I thought happened to their father. You know what I'm saying? And you see that a lot in this time, where some, you know, black fathers are horrible to these mothers and then leave, but then 10 years later, they have a different family and a whole different dude. And then the first kid is like, listen, like, I had a dude, so I don't know what to tell you. So,
for the love of my black men, Mike, can we change that to some fathers, not just black fathers?
Well, we can say some fathers, yes.
Some fathers.
But I was saying because he's black, so I was trying to say because it's all black movie. But I get your point. Yes, you see that in the world in general, like that.
People
yes.
be tripping, but he was ultimate petty gang, because he was like, not only did he get the father back, but he got the son, like he got the father back ultimately. Like, that's the ultimate petty move. Like, not only did I kill my dad, but I killed your mom. So your dad's legacy could be this ruthless, what he wanted to get away from. So he took it another level, because he didn't have to kill the mother.
Well, no. He killed the mother in front of the dad so the dad could watch her die first, then kill her. So he was, you're right, ultimate petty, but that was his plan.
Well, also, yeah, it was his plan, but it was also so that the son, Jonathan Majors' character, could have that hate towards him. Remember? Because if he would have just killed the father, like, technically, if you think about it, if he would have just killed the dad, and then later it came out like, oh, you know, they might have been able to squash it, but he killed his mom too, and then put a cross on his forehead.
Let me ask you this before we wrap this in a bow. We do see that Trudy, Regina King's character, is not dead, and we see them watching them towards the end, and they show her hat. I liked her character throughout the movie. I liked her. I think she really dove deep into the dialect of the Wild Wild West too, the way she delivered her lines. But do you see a possible sequel for this
Oh,
show?
absolutely, 1000%. Like, again, let's be honest, right? Buck clearly had children as well, so they're gonna team up with Trudy. That's your next gang, and then you'll have the marshal and his new deputy as their own faction, and then you'll have Mary and Nat Buck.
What about you? Would you watch the sequel, Chloe, or this?
Of course, I'm gonna watch it. I support our films and our directors. You feel me? And hopefully it'll be better. And secondly, that was another part that frustrated me. I'm like, why didn't she just kill her? Like, bro, this chick, it's no reason why she didn't kill her.
I mean, it's hard to kill somebody, though. You know what I'm saying? So,
in the gun shootout, everybody else died.
I mean, but they're the point blank range. She already knocked her out. I feel like
yeah, you knock them out and then you knock them out. Like, why she walk away? Like, what? How do you know? Because the girl was trying to kill her. Like, Regina King character was trying to kill her. You don't just knock somebody over the head that's trying to kill you and walk away with your back turned towards them. Okay. Makes no sense.
Okay, so you feel like that
was stupid. That was dumb.
Okay. And you said earlier, a few minutes ago, you hope it will be better. So let me just ask you, how would you rate this film on a scale of 1 to
10? For its genre or just as a movie?
As a movie that you watched today, like whatever you watched it. What would you rate it? Scale of 1 to
10. I would have to Josh, you go first. I think about that.
For me, I give it a 9 because it stays within it's like staying within the lines of a coloring book, but still coloring outside the lines a little bit. So I thought in terms of sticking to the genre and having a story with, actual real characters, similar like as you would, with Jesse James and that whole thing. So in terms of that, and for being, a film that does celebrate Black excellence in that, and I would say in that genre as well, which Jay-Z likes to align himself with, I would say I would give it a 9 for all the above: the soundtrack, the film score, the cast. And yeah, I would give it a 9, especially because of the story. And I guess I watch Westerns with my dad, so I understand the rhythm and flow of the story. So parts for other people who are different demographics, they may not be able to find that palatable, which makes sense, which is something they can learn from. So as Chloe alluded to, hopefully they learn from that going into the future. Maybe they have it a different genre. It's directed by someone else, or he just goes in a different direction, kind of like with Knives Out. Like, I'm curious to see how they're going to take that franchise type of thing. So I think they have a great franchise here if they handle it correctly.
And I got another question for you too, but I'll wait till Chloe answers. What do you say? 1 to 10.
All right, I'm not going to give it a number rating, but I'll give it a grade. Okay. So if this was a report card,
wait, that's a teacher in you. Give it a grade.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It would be an A+ for the actors.
Okay.
Like the choice of actors and their acting abilities. For the cinematography, it would also be an A+ because it was awesome. The directing, the storyline, I'm gonna have to do a B-, maybe a C+.
Okay.
Like, I needed a little bit more, but the twist, I'm gonna give it a B- because the twist at the end was pretty good. So I think overall, and it's a Western, so that's like
overall, that's an A, teach.
I'm gonna give it a D because it's a Western. I don't like Western. So overall, I would say a strong B+.
A-.
B.
Okay, all right. I'm with Chloe, but I'll give numbers. So I'm not gonna give rating or whatever like that. But it's gonna give me a whole other place. I probably would give it a strong like 7.5, maybe 7.5.
So you agree with IMDb? They got a 6.6 out of 10.
And that's a 60%. 60.
Yeah. 66%. Yeah. I'm with a 7. I watched it. Like I said, the acting carried it for me because I actually love these actors, all of them. especially the major ones. But I did think the story lost me at times. The pacing wasn't great always. The beginning and ends, the bookends were what made the movie, like you said before. But I think for me, that's like a strong 7. Do you think that this could have been a big screen movie and did well, Josh?
1,000%. And I'm actually waiting to hear what my dad thinks because my dad loves westerns. I like, Dad, you got to watch this. So I'm actually curious to hear his take based upon his love of westerns. But this could definitely work in the films, and it was in select theaters. I'm curious what theaters they were.
Okay. What about you, Chloe? Would you want to go see this in the movie theater?
I think I might have liked it better in the movie theater.
Okay.
Because I think I would have been able to appreciate more of the cinematography on a big. Well, our screen's pretty big, but on a bigger screen, and like the sound and the energy in a movie theater. Like I feel like this should have been in the movies. Like I think we would have had more. Like a Black Panther, we all get dressed up in our Western stuff and go to the movies. Like it could have been a whole event, but they just kind of.
That's my issue, Chloe. You're preaching to the choir here. I do think as an event, people in there with the soundtrack, all that stuff, it could have been a nice movie. And I mean, it's cool. Netflix, they pay a lot of money, I understand. But I feel like we're getting less and less predominantly Black casts in the actual theaters. And I don't like that. Let's put it like that. So,
again, that's fair. But I would say statistically, how many Black people go to the films, and are they more likely to watch it on Netflix?
But how many Black films do you get? Chicken before the egg, right? Which one is different?
But again, it is in theaters.
It's a select, which is none around here. But it's in a couple for like a week. But once it goes to Netflix, why would you go watch it in theaters?
Because everyone has Netflix.
Everyone has Netflix. When is the last time? And I want to go on a tangent, but forget the last time. Just the numbers, Josh. To me, just predominantly Black films have been lower and lower every year, every decade. So now I don't even know if I can name one right now. It's been like.
Now that's fair, but I guess in the industry, if this movie gets any type of award, a Golden Globe or an Oscar,
right?
I think that's probably the better metric for me personally for this type of genre.
Are they just gonna give him a Golden Globe or Oscar because Jay-Z is a part of it?
No, it would have to be because of the acting.
The acting was good, but it's like, how much can you act on like a script that's kind of bare?
Well, I think it does show that they were able to do good with a bare script. And I get you, Josh. I guess I'm more with Chloe wanting to say it as an event, more like all of us at the theater.
Oh yeah, that would have been great. But they also, again, these are the times people are doing deals with Netflix and streaming networks. So this was always happening. And again, it kind of guarantees your win and removes your chance at a loss because a movie, movies and theaters, they don't always hit.
That's true. I mean, what if they would have did like a half and half release, like the other movies that they're doing, like, oh, it's in the movie theaters for 2 weeks and then it'll be on Netflix. Like they could have did that. Because I feel like
I honestly think once Jay-Z went on Instagram to show it, once the trailer was out, I think at least that first weekend. Now, word of mouth might have been like, it's okay, it's not that great, it's okay. But I think that first weekend it would have been more eventful. And I guess again, for me, it's the overall. This is like a middle theater type show now, but overall, I just feel like that we haven't. And I see what you're saying, Josh. Streaming is a huge part of the ecosphere right now. I understand, but it's been a long time. Maybe since Black Panther. Since we had like a movie with majority Black cast.
Queen and Slim, right?
Queen and Slim. And that was in 2019. Now, there was a pandemic, obviously, but 2019, that was. And that was an event movie. I saw it on Thanksgiving Day that year. I remember that.
Oh, really? So. We didn't go see it.
You talking all this junk? You didn't go see the movie?
Nah, because that movie's sad. Like, who want to go see something sad on Thanksgiving?
It was okay. But it was a good movie, regardless.
You want to cry on things? I'm trying to go Black Friday shopping. Who want to cry? Like, come on now. It was Black Trauma Part 2, and then go spend your money on Black Friday. Like, nah.
Well, Chloe, you make a point too. There's too many Black traumas in movies overall.
Like when's the last? I feel like the last feel good movie we had was like, "Are We There Yet?" by Ice Cube. Like,
that's a long time ago.
What can anybody name another one?
I mean, what do you
Black
consider?
Panther? Like, we're gonna use Black Panther for everything.
At this point, it feels like it. But anyway, I want to keep
Speaking of Miguel, and talking about mental theater and Black Panther, I'm actually very sad that we'll never get to see a Kang and Wakanda scene with T'Challa, with Chadwick and Jonathan Majors. I thought that would have been an incredible scene. I would think it would be comparable with him and Michael B. Jordan, if not better.
You never know what they filmed before he passed.
I don't think he's done, Chloe. Honestly, I
They
think
could CGI him.
I mean, they could, but do you want that though?
Yeah, why not? They have his voice.
Would you, Josh?
And if Jonathan Majors that good of an actor, he can do it. They act with less. Like, look at Groot. They act with like a little thing.
Yeah.
And they just put it all together.
They do anything now. Didn't they put the guy General Tarkin in Rogue One, Josh, Star Wars or whatever?
Right. So I think it might be similar to a Fast and Furious situation, a la, Paul Walker, in addition to, Disney's and Lucas Films technology.
Right.
But it's really up to the family at the end of the day. If they're okay with it, then it'll definitely happen.
Yeah, I can see that. Did you guys didn't see Eternals yet, right?
Not yet. And we still got to see Venom 2.
Yeah, we watched Venom 1.
You gotta go see Venom 2. Well, let me wrap this show up again. Thank you guys for coming on. Always appreciate it. This was The Harder They Fall spoiler discussion. Please, everybody, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back. More shows, more movies. Actually, Eternal spoiler discussion this Sunday with my regular panel. Me, Anthony, Dave, and E. Will be spoiling the Eternals. I know you guys didn't see it yet, but just let you guys know. So.
Word. That's what's up.
I mean, we do got out of the theater review. I don't know if you guys watched it yet, but
yeah, I did.
Yeah, Chloe, you got to start watching those. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this now. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
All right, peace.